Hello friends, welcome to my channel CS Learning. In the previous video we have seen about while loop in Python, and we have also understood how the while loop will work in Python. So as I told you in the previous video that loop is a iterative statement, or loop can execute a block of code number of times until the certain condition is met. Now we will going to see what is for loop in Python. Now let's see the syntax of the for loop. So you can see Python's for loop syntax is more convenient or alternative to the while loop when iterating through a series of elements. So as I told you in the previous video also, that with using for loop or with a for loop we can iterate elements of a list or a tuple or a of a string. So let's see how to do it, but before that, see here, this is the main syntax of the for loop. First you have to use for elements in the iterable, that means elements of a list or a tuple or a sentence, or you can say it is a string. Okay, then you will write the body of the for loop. Okay, now see, let's see how the for loop will work. Moving into the Python, let's take a list over here, and we will also take a string. So I am taking a list with some integer numbers. Okay, and I am taking a string s equals Python learning. So here it is. Now we will see with a for loop how I will iterate this, or how I will access each and every element of the list L and the string S. So for x in L, yeah, capital L, print x. Okay, now let's run the code and check what will happen. We will see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and 14 is printed in the separate line. So we can use this for loop for iterating a series of numbers. Okay, even we can change this with s, and if I run this code, you can see Python learning, each and every character of this Python learning string has been printed over here in the output section. Here, this is the total output we have got for this particular code. Okay, now is for loop is only work with the series? No, actually we can use the for loop with a range function. Okay, so I can write here for x in range len of s. Okay, okay, let me give here 0 comma len of s, and let me print here x. Okay, so this will not change anything actually, but the output will change. You can see the output is changing when I'm using a range function. Actually, whenever I will use the range function, it will take the range from 0 to the number I have given at the end. So at the end, if I say L length equals, suppose len is an inbuilt function of Python with which we can find the length of a string or of a list. So here it is. Now let me print the length over here for you so that you will understood that what is the actual length of the string. Now let's run this code. So you can see length is 15. You can see here 15. So just write a statement, length of s. Length of s is 15. Now if I am writing here 0 comma len s, that means it is running from 0 to 14. It will not take the last value 15. This is the range function. Actually this is a working procedure of the range function, that it will not take the last value, it will take up to before the last value. That means if the last value is 15, it will take up to the number 14. Okay, and it is generating the numbers, or it is giving the output, the number. Okay, now if I will write here a statement for loop, the same thing will happen, but up to 14 times it will print the for loop. Actually the for loop is running for 14 times, 0 to 15, sorry, it is running for 15 times, 0 to 15. Okay, if I will write here 10, so it will start, the starting value is 10 and the ending value will 15, so it will give you only 5. That means 10 to 15. Okay, so see, loop, for loop, like 5 times it is printing the for loop, right? So this is about the range function we are learning in for loop. So let's see the PPT, this portion. Range keyword or range function. The range function returns a sequence of numbers starting from 0 by default and increments by 1 by default and ends at the specified number. This is the syntax of the range function. Just you see the thing, range, start, stop and step value. By default the step value is 1. So let's see over here, this is a small code with the range function. If I, okay, sorry, just a minute. Okay, so if I write here for n in range 3 comma 6, so it will give you the output 3, 4 and 5. It will not take the 6. Okay, or if I write here x equals to range 3 comma 6 for n in range x, print n, so it will give you the same thing, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, okay, now let's see what is the else statement in the for loop. Okay, so let me move on to the coding statement again, the coding page again. And here I will write a code with a range function, that suppose for n in range 1 to 10, or let me take a smaller number, 1 to 6. Okay, and print n. Okay, now else print else block. Okay, now and one more thing I will print here. Print the n value. Okay. Now let's run the code and see what will happen with this code. If I run this code, it is running from 1 to 6. So you can see for n in range 1 to 6, it is giving the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And in the else block, it is printing the else and print n, it is printing the n value. Now, if I write this n value outside the else block, what will happen? The same thing is coming, right? So, whenever the n value will 5, it will come out from the loop or it will run the else block. So, this is optional actually. Whenever we need this else along with a for loop, in some particular cases of programming, we can use this. So, this is a general example or a general syntax of else block along with a for loop I have shown you. Okay. I hope this video is helpful for all of you and you have learned this for loop with range function and with the series or with a string. How can we use a for loop? Right? So let's get end up the video over here for today. Again, we will meet up in our next session with some more coding with for loop, if else and while loop as well. Okay. So till then, keep learning, keep practicing and keep growing. Thank you. Bye bye.